One of us is on the ground, oh Lord. Same shit, different toilet, now this is evident. Same politics, promises, and new presidents. And we ain't get shit yet, but harsher sentences. Ridiculous. Yo, since 91 I've been ready to be a cop killer. Since Rodney King cops walked off on camera. Footage indisputable, question mark doable. Burden the truth is on. These niggas had all the props. Little screen in the background where they could do their shit, fucking skies and lightning and thunder and all kinds of shit in the background. We didn't get none of that. And then when Slick Rick went on, he did his thing. All he had was he had a little screen in the background and a stool. And yo, he moved everybody in there from that fucking stool. Like, this was the calmest rap I've ever seen in my fucking life. I've never seen a rapper just sit on stage. Like, it was almost like watching Bill Cosby do a half-hour stand-up. He sat down and huh? No, he sat down and literally just did his thing from a stool, bro. And half the time he wasn't even singing. He wasn't even rap. The audience spit all his shit. That's how legendary, that's how classic, how legendary that was. And I was like, damn, yo, this is where I want to be at. I want everybody to know every word of my shit. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. This is where my hunger is. I feel like it's gonna drive me to. Mm-hmm. You know, before I knew it, we spoke to Rick, and he embraced us well as new artists. And he was like, well, look, I got 6 more shows on this tour that I'm doing. So I was like, it's dope. Like, what's up? Can we get on? And somebody set it up, and next thing you know, we opened up for Rick for 6 shows. And Rick's so dope. He don't like nobody around him that shine less. You know what I'm saying? He travels with a trunk, like a huge trunk, like an actual trunk. And he keeps mad jewels in that shit. Chains, watches, bracelets, everything you could think of is in that fucking thing, man. So we'll go out to get ready to do a show, and we still trying to earn ours. We still trying to make our bread. And what money that we did make at the time, we was either cashing it in, holding a little bit of that euro money just so we could take, you know what I'm saying, do what we was doing up there, sending money back home, putting that shit in our trust. The label was also holding a lot of bread for us, putting it in our trust so that we wouldn't be broke at the end of the day. He would, here, go in the trunk, grab yourself something. You know what I'm saying? Just don't go crazy. You can get one of each. You know what I'm saying? You get one. You want to watch, get one. Don't put on 6 watches. Don't go crazy. All right, bro. Opened up trunk, man. I've never seen this much gold in my life. This much diamonds in my life. Like, this is especially gold. Like, diamonds was popping. He definitely had a lot of diamond shit in there, but gold. And he had a pendant, fucking chain pendant. It was like a dinner plate. It's the size of a dinner plate. And then what was on it was like 3D. It poked out. It wasn't even a flat print. It poked out. I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then picking it up, it was like, yo, I'm gonna have to take this shit off halfway through the song. This shit heavy as hell. Like, who the hell could wear this through a whole show?
I would tell people all the time, man. All of these young guys now doing everything. The Yo Gottis, the Money Back Yos, everybody going crazy with the jewelry. Listen, Mr. T, Slick Rick.
Yo,
I would challenge anybody on that. Mr. T and Slick Rick.
Yo, they jewelry game is ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, they the godfather of the jewelry.
Ridiculous.
Only difference is they heavied up on the gold. They didn't really promote the diamonds too much, and now it was all about the diamonds, the VVS's, and things of that nature.
And yo, he had a whole armband, gold armband, with a naked woman that stood up on it. Like,
yo, that's fire.
Yo, so he has it was a bunch of shit. So it was like, all right, I'm gonna just grab this tiny ass watch because I don't want to be responsible for nothing. I ain't paying nothing back. And a nigga like me at that time, I was still doing dumb shit, trying to crowd surf and shit like that. So I didn't want a chain to get snatched off me and nothing like that. So I'll grab a chain that I knew I could afford. Like, you know what I'm saying? it probably took me a minute, but I could afford this chain. Like I, you know what I'm saying? It'd be on layaway, but I can afford this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'll grab a chain like that. You know, Bent was my man. Bay, he wasn't with. He was a big nigga, so that crowd surfing shit wasn't with him. I ain't gonna get the biggest chain that he can find, and oftentimes, you know, Rick would be like, "Nah, put that one back, bro. That's." They know me for that one. You can't. So it'll be chains
That's
they had to put
actually
back.
commendable. The fact that he was even thinking in that matter. He's like, nah, I don't even want them to even
Word.
though he's letting y'all wear it. He don't even want people to know that it's not. You understand? So
Word.
yeah,
Like he was real dope about a lot of things. Like our tour bus, our tour bus was like an actual bus. Like it was actual fucking bus. Like we didn't have no beds on that shit. It was an actual
an
fucking bus.
actual bus.
Yes, it was an actual bus, bro. Like a school bus. It was an actual bus, bro. The only thing different about it is that we had a bathroom. It was an actual fucking bus, bro.
So it's like a Greyhound bus.
Yeah, like no, with the seat, but with the school bus seat belt, the shit that latch, like you gotta pull it up this way, like and nobody know how to use it, like that shit. It was an actual bus. Rick's bus was a house, like it was a crib. He was comfortable as fuck in that shit. Like he could live there. Like it was definitely someplace he could chill at. And I went in his bus. I was in his bus for like maybe 10 minutes. And that's only because our bus was taking mad long to come and how to use bathrooms. I was like, yo, bro, can I use your bathroom, please? He's like, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Get on the bus. Yo, as soon as I get on the bus, it's like, man, man, the doors open to the bus, and it was just like, it wasn't smoky as shit. You just smelled mad weed. And I get on the bus, and there's two dudes on the bus already, and everybody else on the bus is chicks. I just want to get to the bathroom. Walking past everybody, I don't know what the fuck they was on. These niggas is grabbing your hand. Yo, son, you seen that? Yo, come here. Let me talk to you. Yo, did you have a drink of this yet? Yo, come here. Did you try this? Yo, you should smoke on this shit. This shit good. And I'm like, bro, I just need to use the bathroom. Like, there was zombies. Like, there was practically zombies. But I used the bathroom shit, came off the bus, and I'm like, yo, you have an actual stars bus. Like this is a celeb bus. Like you, you can lay down. There's a bed in a your bathroom got a sink in it. Like we gotta stop for water. Like our bathroom has it. The toilet didn't have water in it. It just opened up at the bottom and let the shit out on the road. Like literally, we didn't have like our bus was a piece of garbage. So that right there was just dope in itself. So, but then my mom's had we had got sent home for I think like maybe 2-3 weeks. So go home. Of course, I'm feeling myself from now. I'm touring. I'm an artist. I'm feeling myself. So I do it. I do it. Most motherfuckers who start getting money start doing. You know what I'm saying I start splurging, um, getting as much buns as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wearing all these dope ass outfits. I'm looking better than I ever did. Confidence is super high. Account building. In my mind, the future just like opened up with so much for me. Like the doors of the future was just opening up for me. Like, but I didn't know what lane it was gonna take me down yet. Right now, the lane it had me on was just rapper, and which was cool with me. But there was just more that I wanted. Like I wanted more. Like I looked at artists like Mace, and I was like, yo, how Mace got an R&B budget? He don't sing. How he got an R&B budget? How he don't sing? It was dudes like Heavy D. Like Heavy D was how Heavy D ain't an R&B ain't don't have an R&B budget when he's singing. And then dudes that was way tougher than both of them. The 50 Cent started coming out. And I remember 50 Cent from All the Getting Robbed, and then he got shot up and disappeared for a while. And then he came back and he harmonizing now. And it was like, the fuck? I thought we couldn't do this. I thought this was not the thing to do. And And I'm hearing it more so out of New York than anything else. Well, I ain't gonna say out of New York than anything else, because the West Coast was, they didn't shun it. The West Coast was with it. They had a bunch of, Nate Dogg was a singer, but he was
Oh yeah.
gangster shit.
Oh yeah.
Real life, Nate Dogg was a GG. Like he punched people in the face, face, whole nose, and knuckles, and cheekbones and jaws. Punch people in the face, bro. And he'll sing about it. Hold up, way. You know what I'm saying? Snoop, even Snoop had a melodic sound to him. You know what I'm saying? Where he could do certain, murder was the case that they gave me. Like it was certain, you know what I'm saying? He had a certain melodic sound that he could carry with him. And then
West Coast
it,
always had like that.
yeah, they always had it. It was always welcoming to them for in the West Coast, it was always welcoming for you to come there with all your talent. They wanted to see all your talent, especially with a label like Death Row. Oh, show us all your talent because we gonna get this motherfucker. They have your ass, so you'll go and showcase your talent, and niggas have your ass forever. But they was just welcoming with so many different things. Like it was so many different styles that you could use out there. And in the East Coast was just, I tell you straight up, that shit ain't gonna fly. Like you gonna have to pick one. You rapping and singing. You know what I'm saying? And if you and then on top of that, if you wasn't a light skinned nigga, that singing shit was out the window. So don't even do it to yourself. Don't even do it to yourself. So here I come with my black ass trying to be all up under it. Like I'm trying to do it all. Like, and it was I was getting shut down here and there. And I had a few people, that was on um that real eclectic hip hop. They'll take it so many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the individuals who was like, yo, don't stop. They keep telling you it won't work. That's cool. Just keep making that music because eventually it's gonna work. Right now, it's not working. And they'll tell me straight up, it's not working the way you're doing it because you might be giving it too much. And that's always been a problem for me in music. I always felt like, even right now, like I feel like dudes get on with music now, and I'm still like counting the similes and counting syllables and trying to make get my point across, as as exquisitely as possible in English, in opposed to, just making up random words. I mean, if that's the thing, like fuck it. Like I guess that's the thing. I can't knock that. You know what I'm saying? I don't knock no black man for getting no money in this economy in this country. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's the thing, it is what it is. But I just understand that it takes its toll. Those things, take their tolls. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on that informative hip hop, Public Enemy, the Queen Latifahs, I grew up on the informative hip hop. They told me about Ronald Reagan, you know, the war on drugs and the mistreatment of black women in this country and the police brutality. I grew up on informative hip hop. And later on, technical hip hop came later. So the hip hop that my dad and my cousin Ellis was listening to when they would take me around dudes and they in they freestyle sessions and they rapping, everything that they were saying was some shit that was in the newspaper, some shit that was on the news the other night. It was some shit that was going on in their community, some shit that they expressed through the guardian angels. Like that at that time we still had the guardian angels walking around the hood, so me, the only thing they didn't want to hear that crack rap, and so I didn't. I never. It didn't occur to me that that was even a thing. So the only thing I would do is I looked at them like, yo, they just spit about their whole day. So let me tell them what happened to me in school,
Mm.
and I just learned how to be able to get my point across. So a little while after, fast forward a little while into me coming home from the UK and for 2 weeks, and I went back. Of course, doing reckless shit, knock somebody up. Boom. Baby on the way. So I get that first phone call. I practically ignored Shorty because I started feeling like, I'm a black man getting money. These are the things that come in and kind of take us out. At least at that time, that was the narrative at that time. You know, um, Once a black man start getting money, you're gonna impregnate somebody, and then she gonna take you for child support, and the government gonna come for you. Don't be too righteous. Like this was the narrative at that time. So sure enough, I felt like I was starting to get some money. I wasn't even really getting money yet, but I felt like I was. And somebody's pregnant now. Um, it wasn't a rush for me, so I was like, yo, you know what? I still got a couple months left on the tour, whatever. You just gotta hold it down. Boom. Um, then a couple weeks after that, my mom's gets sick, and she had tuberculosis. So they had her, and they had her in Harlem Hospital, and nobody knew where she was. Um, my mom said I have two little sisters. At that time, nobody knew where my little sisters were. So my mom's is in the hospital in quarantine, and my little sisters is randomly just anywhere. So I didn't know what it was, but I didn't know what was going on with my mom's. All I knew about the only thing I knew about tuberculosis is most people die from that shit. So especially if they catch it too late, like there's no coming back. That shit like rabies. It don't. There's no turning it around. That shit is 100%. So apparently they caught it in my mom's early enough so that they was able to clear all the inflammation in her lungs, and she was walking around with water in her lungs fluid and all of that, so they caught it and they treated it long before it started to take a toll, because it takes a toll on your brain. So they caught it long before that. So I'm not getting all of this information. Cell phones is like, nobody in my family at that time could afford a cell phone. So wherever you was at, if there was a landline, that's pretty much what you was going to do. Cell phones wasn't that important, and we were still just in the coming out of the beeper era. Everybody still was walking around with two ways and shit like that. So I called the label and I told them like, yo, look, my mom's is sick and I got a baby on the way and I need to go back to the States. And I had never shied away from a show before. I'd never walked away from anything. I'd never asked. I'd never actually spoken to anybody other than when they was talking to us, telling us what we need to do within the next couple of weeks. There was never any, back and forth dialogue. They tell us what we need to do. They tell us what we need to go. They tell us the shows that we need to do. They tell us the songs that we needed to write. We did that. Up until this point, I had never asked for anything. So I tell them like, yo, look, I gotta go back to the States. My mom's is sick. My sisters is in the wind, and I might have a baby on the way. They told me straight up, look, we got in the next couple of shows, we got some important shit coming up. If you're not here, that's it. There's nothing we can do on that. If you're not here for it, there's nothing we can do. So I'm sitting there trying to weigh out my options, like family over, what I'm saying, money over family over money. And I done spent a lot of money, so I know money ain't gonna always be there. Family was always there, so I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go home. I gotta go home. I gotta go home." The label did some funny style shit, and these niggas put a freeze on like my passport. So, because I got everything I had got at that time, like my passport, all of that shit, bank accounts, all of that, everything was set up through the label.
Through the label, damn.
Right, like the label did everything for me. Like I was a street nigga. Like I had never signed I'd never really signed a contract in my life or anything. Like, you know what I'm saying, so they took into account that we was all still young, you know, and they pretty much took advantage of that too. Because while they was handling all of that business, we didn't know of the the details that were included in shit like that. Like we knew our money. Like every show we did, we got paid this much, and boom, it was gonna be sitting in an account. But we didn't know the account numbers. We didn't have the cards. You know what I'm saying? The label pretty much distributed our checks when they distributed. And especially if we was out and about, like when we was on tour, the label didn't give us money. The label would give they would give money to like the people the coordinators who took care of the tour. So and the coordinators, budgeted our money from hotel stays, wardrobe, um, props, anything that we needed. You know what I'm saying, food. You know what I'm saying, room and board. Like anything that we needed was budgeted out of that money that they gave to the coordinators, and they took care of all of that. So we didn't. We was kept in the dark in terms of all of the details that it took for them to put certain shit together. So when it came down to me telling them, "I look, I gotta go back to the States," blah blah blah, they just froze my passport. So I'm standing at the airport, no passport, no money, no phone, no label, because they pretty much was like, yo, if you walk off, that's it. And I'm explaining to them like, yo, if it was your mom's, like, what would you do?
Wow, this is.
You know what I'm saying? And before I knew it, I was like, yo, you know what? Fuck it, I'm out. I'm thinking, I got certain important papers with me, like my passport. I get to the fucking airport, niggas look at my shit. They was like, oh, you here on this, that. Well, it's a freeze on your thing right now. Like we can't let you board anything. Like you're on a. And I'm like, what am I blacklisted? Like you're not blacklisted, but you got to stay. You can't leave as of yet. Like you have to get certain clearance to board a plane. And I'm like, and I'm arguing with people like, I'm not a criminal. What am I, a terrorist? Like, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, I had never even heard. I've heard the word terrorist before, but I had never heard it in terms of a group of people or just describing people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You knew a terrorist if you ever read a fucking comic book. I didn't know a terrorist yet. You know what I'm saying? And I think at this time was this. Matter of fact, 9/11 had just happened. Matter of fact, 9/11 had just happened. It was either, yeah, 9/11 had just happened.
It was
So
2001, right? If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
9/11 had, it was either 2001, because my son was born in 2002. So
Yeah, it
this is me.
2001.
Yeah, so 9/11 had just happened. And
I was in fifth grade, I think. I think I was 10 years old. So yeah, it was the 2000.
right. So 9/11 had just happened. Everybody in the States was still feeling funny and finicky. And I guess I don't know what the protocol was. I don't know how long they was,
Right.
locking people out of the airport or whatever the case is, but I know I was flagged and my label had something to do with it. So I ended up staying in a hotel, and I had to call back to the States. And mind you, that call I called my grandfather of all people, and it's probably the worst person to call. Called my grandfather, right? And I'm like, your grandpa, I need you to send me some bread. I need you to send me some money. I'm stuck out in the UK. This nigga says. See, his first words to me was, you was chasing hip hop. Now look at you. Hip shot. Now you just and mind you, he's on the phone rapping to me. You was chasing hip hop. Now you're hip shot. Now you're standing there without a buck on somebody else's block. Like just rapping to me on the phone. I'm like, yo, grandpa, you gonna hook me up or what? Like, he's like, I told you should have just went to the army like I did, or got you a regular job like I did. Look how they do you now. Now you in somebody else's land or on the white man's soil. And I'm like, yo, look, grandpa, please send me some fucking money. Sends me some money, pays for my ticket. Um, I had to go. I had to pay money through the embassy. Well, not I didn't pay the embassy, but the embassy had to pay for some shit. I had to go to the U.S. embassy and get them to free me up so that I could go back. And that shit took, mind you, I was out there with no money, and that shit took about 4 days. So I'm sleeping here, I'm sleeping there, I'm trying to figure it out, and then I'm trying to. Once the tour bus left, they niggas left me. Them niggas left my ass. Like once they left, they left. So I'm like, I bet it's all good, whatever. I finally get on the flight, get back to New York. Um, Everybody knows my mom's is in the hospital. Nobody knows what hospital she's in. So I'm calling around and calling around hospitals. I finally found that she in Harlem Hospital. I get to Harlem Hospital. They got my mom's in there doing bad, hair crazy. She ass out in her gown, ass out in her gown. I ain't never seen my mama ass out in her gown. You know what I'm saying? So they doing her bad, man. I get up there, man. I see her. Um, she tells me, she was like, "Well, look, I'm okay. I'm gonna be out of here soon." So I said, "Well, how soon is soon? Like where's I'm looking for my sisters. Where my sisters at?" So she's like, "Well, my older sister, Kathleen, she was like, she's over there in Brooklyn with her fam, with her dad's fam, and my baby sister, she was actually with my grandfather who never said nothing."
Wow.
So I get my mom's home, get the family back together. My mom's ends up having to uh at the time we was moving back from Rochester, so she was moving back from Rochester, and she kind of made this move on a whim. So um she was staying at my granddad's house. And the girl who was telling me she was pregnant with my seed, so I go see her. So she's like, "Yo, this your little man, da, 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 blah, blah. He got the same one dimple on the left side, same thing. This your little man, blah, blah, blah." Boom. So I start, making preparations, to be a dad and shit like that, and move forward with my life. Next thing I know, I get I think maybe about a month in, and mind you, uh, I had been trying to call 550. I had been trying to call Universal. Never got in contact with nobody. I would never get past the receptionist. Um, I would call Sterling Records. Everybody in there would speak to me, and they'll tell me like, "Yo, they as if they felt like they was getting cut out of the window. Like none of them was answering their phone calls in regards to myself." So I get a letter in the mail from Universal, and Universal's I never even opened it at first. The shit just sat on a dresser for like maybe 2 3 days, and one day I'm sitting in the house. Somebody I'm getting ready to go to the store. I open the door. There's a dude standing in front of my door. He hands me an envelope and he was like, "Yo, you've been served." Where they sued me for walking off the tour. They said that I left them high and dry, basically on shows, and I'm trying to explain. And in my mind, I'm like, nigga, I had a whole family emergency, like a legitimate family emergency, not the kind of shit you just call out of work with, like a legitimate family emergency. I had to leave a country for this shit, like, but they wasn't hearing that shit. These niggas sued me. So all the bread that I had made on a tour, um, and I had a good piece of change, so they had set up separate accounts for me. So it was one spending account that just was all my bread. Like it was just mine to dip into, but I could only dip into it in the States. In the UK, I wasn't able to use it because the banks that we was using here didn't exist out there. So that account I had access to. Um, I got into that shit twice. The first time I went there, I took out and I had to call the bank first because it was a large amount of money, and I didn't know that when you take out a certain amount of money, you gotta call the bank and let them know that you're coming for this amount, so that they can have it all set up for you to pick up and go. And then it's supposed to be like they're supposed to give it to you in a certain packaging or whatever the case is. So I didn't know all this shit about money at that time. Like this is again like I sold weed and I sold crack occasionally, so I knew what money looked like on the street in bundles and rubber bands and shit like that. But when it came from the banks and shit like that, this was a different set of money. So call the bank up and I somebody tells me that I had to do this, so I call the bank. I tell them to arrange a certain amount. Boom, I set my son up with some money for later on in his life because I didn't know where I was getting ready to go with these niggas serving me these papers. So set up some shit for him, put it in his name, erase my shit. Just don't even think about me on it. Boom, set up my daughter, put her name on some shit, erase my shit. Put her mom's there, put his mom's there. Don't even think about me. Let that be that. When they turn a certain age, they should be good. Um, Third time I went to go to that that account, shit was frozen. Couldn't touch it. Um, so they basically, in the lawsuit, this shit went on about damn near a year, because Elijah was almost two when this shit ended. So they got me for I think 65, 70,000, and they got to keep. At that time, I didn't rap under Neeno the Kid. I rapped under Geppetto, Jazz Peddler. So that was like I had a whole like title. So as a solo artist, I went as Geppetto Jazz Peddler. You know what I'm saying? So and in the group, I just went as Geppetto and copyrighted everything. So but everything again was done under the label. So I didn't realize how much of me that they actually owned. You know what I'm saying? So they had my name, any songs that I did under their umbrella, and they got me for a catalog, a huge catalog too, because I was one of those niggas that I wrote every 5 minutes. If my pen didn't move that day, it wasn't right. It wasn't right. Somebody died if my pen did not hit the paper that day. somebody died and there was a disturbance in the force somewhere if my pen didn't hit the paper. So they got me for a huge catalog of songs, artist development plans that I had put together on we had like 5 different artists, and for some reason, like, everybody would hear them and see their look and shit like that. I just had a whole plan put together for where their career could go, and I would write these shits out and present it to people instead of keeping it to myself. I didn't know that, you know, at that time I was still learning that your ideas, if no matter how good your ideas are, if they're not to be capitalized on by the bigger picture, it's just an idea. I didn't realize that. I thought I was helping. You know what I'm saying? So, but it wasn't looked at like that. And in a lot of ways, they was looking at it like it was a lot of dudes in there like, yo, this nigga trying to take my job, just rap. Artist development is my field, just rap. But thanks for the notes though. You know what I'm saying? So, um, moving along, the lawsuit is over. These niggas got me. I still had a little piece of, change that I could sit on and get my life started with. Um, and like I'd say, God damn, I came home and I started hooking up with these dudes who was around a lot. They was around me a lot, and we was all putting our crimes in together. Like we'll pull our bullshit schemes together. We doing our scamming shit, hustling, grinding here and there, drugging it. And one day, I think we came across, like, we had hit a huge score, and we was just like, damn, yo, this is what money's supposed to feel like. Like, this money through your toes money right here. Like, I'm saying, so we felt real good about ourselves for a good minute, but then we started realizing we couldn't do this shit forever. And even though we was having a good run, we had a good fucking run, but then, shit we started getting cornered. Like, people was getting hip to the game, and we had to dip out real quick. So, I hooked up with them, and it was like, I bet we're gonna take what we got and invest in what we can do. So we started calling ourselves the execs. And it was me and this young kid named J Dot, and he used to make beats. He wasn't the nicest beat maker. He wasn't the nicest producer at all. Like, by any standard, he wasn't the nicest. But I just had the ability to be one of those rappers who would rap on anything. Like, it didn't matter what the beat was, how good it was. If the beat was trash, I was gonna make it better. If the beat was dope, I was gonna make it better. No matter how it went, that was just the attitude that I approached songs with. So, and Jay, he knew a bunch of rappers, so he would always keep me in a circle of dudes that was just like, everybody was nice. But even with your talent, I'm still the smartest person in the room. That's how I felt. So no matter who I got on the song with, it was like, yo, you don't know what I know. You ain't been through what I've been through. You don't, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't been through what you've been through, but I guarantee you, I done seen more stretch. I done seen a bigger stretch of this planet than you have. Like, that was my way of approaching things. So if all you knew was the Bronx, I done been to Europe. You know what I'm saying? I done been to Barcelona at this point. I done been to Japan at this point. So if all you know is the Bronx, I got a world to introduce you to. So you rap, or you rap. Like, that was the you know that. You know that speech.
We're never gonna talk about that now. Just know, man, I have something premiering very soon, and Neeno and his counterpart are part of it. So all of that will make sense, man. Before we kind of get out of here, I want to ask you 2 important things.
What's up?
Number 1, do you regret anything that happened? Music.
In terms of, like, professionally, or
yeah, just everything we've been through. The going through the tour and having to make decision to put family before that, and everything you've been through with the label and them suing you and things like that. As far as that, like, do you regret any of that?
I think the only regret that I probably have is probably, I wanted to get out of that lawsuit real quick. it was getting expensive. I was watching my own money go down through court fees and shit like that and lawyer fees and all of that. So I wanted to get that shit over with as quickly as possible before I actually went broke. So I actually settled out for what I thought was a better deal, as opposed to finding myself where if we'd have went to a full blown trial, I'd probably still be under the thumb, under the weight of their thumb of how much money I owe them or how much they put into the tour or artist
Still
development and
paying
all
all
that
that
shit.
to this day.
Right. So I felt like I don't have no regrets. I think the only regret that that I have is probably what could have been. If you know what I'm saying, if I wouldn't have, if things would have went a different way, you know what I'm saying, if God would have never put my moms in the hospital and split my family up the way he did and and put me in a position where I had to choose between family and profession, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the only. I'm not gonna look at that and say, I regret choosing family. That's not the thing. I think the regret there is the what could have. You know what I'm saying? What it could have been. But then I also know that if I would have chose profession over family, I think I'd have been a colder person for what it's worth. I don't think,
Mm.
I'd have the heart to be the kind of father that I am to my kids if I could turn my back on my moms and my sister at a moment like that.
Well, yeah, that's a heavy one. I could definitely understand that, man. My second question is, because obviously we talk a lot off camera, so I know personally that the love for the music is still there. But
Right.
second question is, what what do you do now musically? Is the love the same? Is the love different?
I think with anything you do, your love's supposed to evolve with whatever it is that you're doing. So nah, the from when I was 15, when I was 21, when I was 25, the love is not the same. The love is definitely different. But I think this the love that I have now has a has conditions. Before my for hip hop was unconditional, and I didn't realize how you can get lost in the business of hip hop and opposed to being lost in the culture and the feeling that hip hop could give you. Those are the parts that I got lost in the beginning. The feeling of hip hop, the feeling of the culture, the the development of my own self esteem through hip hop. So the business of hip hop kind of took a lot of that away. But at the same time, it still built me up to know that there's a place for artists like myself, and there's a place for the bigger artists, the special artists, the ones that are definitely going to be front street mainstream. They're built differently. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's not built for that shit. And even myself, I felt like I was built for it, but I don't know if I have the coldness to be that. And nowadays is different. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays you don't have to be this cold ruthless businessman to make it. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Definitely
have,
true.
you know what I'm
Definitely
You just
true.
got to be smart. You just got to be knowledgeable. You just got to know where you want to go. So I think the love is different now because my love is educated, and with the knowledge that I have, I'm never gonna love hip hop the way I did when I was younger because I didn't know what hip hop could give you and what hip hop could take from you. So my love is different now because I know that hip hop only love you but so much. It's like the streets. The streets don't love nobody, but everybody love the streets.
Definitely.
Everybody writes songs about the streets, do movies about the streets.
Mm-hmm.
But streets don't love nobody. It's gonna be here whether you publicize it or not. So I do. My love is definitely still here for the art, for the culture, for the movement. Even for the business, because I definitely love to see my people get money out here. So even for that, but my love is educated, so I will never fall head over heels for hip hop again to the point where I can be taken advantage of, or I can find myself in another courtroom wondering if I'll be able to feed my kid for the next 10 months because I got to feed this label.